So far so good. What I need to do now is I just need a rough measurement on this side to make sure that when I plunge down, it's actually going into the hole and isn't missing it. Now I need to cut a piece of wood to go right here. I just cut this with the chop saw. Let's just do a quick mock-up of this. This will go here. Yeah, like that. And that's the guide, the router, that this edge of the router will follow. Like that. And I need to build that sled that's gonna go through here. I'm gonna do that using this thinner wood. I'll explain why in a little bit. I cut these two pieces of wood. These are gonna make the sled that's gonna hold the body like that, okay? And what'll happen is this will go in here between these two guide posts, I should say. And, well, okay. And this will slide that way, inside those guides. With me so far? Remember how earlier I marked that corner so I know which sides are true? Now is when it's coming in handy because I need these to be perpendicular to this side. And I know this side is a solid perpendicular to there, so these are gonna be parallel to that. I think what I'm gonna do is just glue this in place for now. While that's drying, another thing I need to make is a jig. That's right, another jig, so that I can mount the body properly in these two pieces of wood. What I had in mind was basically just gluing two pieces of wood down to a base. Then what happens is the body sits in there. I take these two pieces of wood, tighten the screws that I'm gonna set in there, and then boom, should be set. And while all of that is drying, I'm gonna go to the drill press and work on cutting some holes for this to hold this thing in place. The first thing I'm gonna do is tape these two pieces of wood together so that when I drill the holes, they'll line up pretty well. I'll just drill in each corner, it should be fine. Nice. I managed to lose both of my countersink drill bits. What I'm gonna do is use this Dremel attachment and just route these out like that. That looks good. Good and countersunk. And very hot. The problem I have now is on the other side. Even with the body in between, this is going to be sticking out way too far for it to slide smoothly in between the two rails of the main body. What I'm going to need to do is shorten these bolts to the right length. I'm also going to need to countersink a hole in here so that the bolt will actually rest below the surface. For those, I'm just going to drill those out. I don't need to use the countersink, the fake countersink piece to that. Perfect! Check that out. Perfect. Yep, that's gonna work perfectly. Excellent. Before I end this episode, I wanted to give a quick walkthrough of what I've accomplished this morning and show you how it's all gonna fit together. So that has a flat surface right there. That goes in there and sits flat. This goes here. Yep, that looks like it fits together pretty well. That's great. Because that will then be locked in place like that once I tighten all those down. And what will happen is this will load into here and will slide back and forth. Those screws are going to be all the way in, don't worry about it. That goes like that. The bed goes on top of there. This guide goes here. The router bit plunges into there, and it'll go back and forth across the top of the body. What I'll do is I'll position it like, for example, right there, make my cut, then move it forward a little bit, make another cut, forward a little bit more, make another cut. The reason I made this part longer right here is so I can clamp this right here to hold it in place while I'm cutting out back and forth here. The last thing I need to do is build something in here that will hold a bunch of shims. That way when I want to advance it forward, I just remove a shim that'll be 0.1 inches, so the whole sled will just move forward 0.1 inches, like that. That's where we are as of right now. Hey, thanks again for watching. Next episode we'll finish up the jig.